Everybody in Facebook world, Dr. Tammy here. What is today? Wednesday. I wasn't track of my week. So I have a pretty provocative Facebook Live to do for you today. And as I was just telling my son that I was getting ready to do this, I actually invited him to come in and listen, and he got a little embarrassed. I did a Facebook post last week on sex education in school and got your thoughts on that. So I got a lot of comments, and I thought they were really helpful. So if you have children, or if you don't have children, I think this might be an interesting topic because it really makes you self-reflect on your life, your emotions, what's going on. So what's sex got to do with Santa? So I want to just kind of share with you, when I was little, my experience was that I had this veil. It felt like, and I love my parents, God bless them, they just did the best they could, and I think all parents do. And I think you're probably doing the best you can. So whatever your answer was, or your decision, or however you talk to your kids, I think that's the right way. It's individual for everybody. But I think it's a good opportunity to really get real and get honest, and to look at honesty. So I remember, and people argue that this is an innocent lie, that we tell our kids about Santa Claus. And the blurred lines between, and I won't even step on any religious toes about God or anything like that, the blurred lines between this figure that watches you and knows when you've been naughty or knows when you've been nice. And yeah, we all want to be good and we want to please and we don't want to disappoint anybody, which kind of gets ingrained in our self-psyche, in our structure, in our programming. And so especially as women or girls, I think that we're even more prone to this kind of dark, insidious training that dishonesty is okay. So I remember that when it finally came time that I started figuring out that I didn't think there was a Santa Claus, was also about the same time when sex was starting to come up, like around with my friends. So I was probably around 8 or 9 at the time. And that might be a little late to start really learning about Santa Claus, but I was pretty sheltered. And I remember that there was this kind of veil. You didn't talk about sex, you didn't touch yourself, it was like nothing. And I even remember that when I started my menstrual cycle, we didn't discuss it. My mom literally just kind of said, I said, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. And she said, here you go, and gave me Super Plus tampons and sent me to the bathroom with that. And had no idea what to do with that. So I think that my age, I'm almost 50, and I think that my age, and maybe, I don't know how old you guys are listening, but I think that we all kind of got misinformation, not enough information. And one of the problems in that is that I also didn't get the information about self-love, self-respect. Everything was through fear and control. It was, don't you get pregnant, don't you get disease, abstinence is the only way, God is watching you. When Santa Claus wasn't watching me, God was watching me. And so, I'm not trying to step on any of your spiritual beliefs or any of your morals, but it's just an opportunity to self-reflect. So please comment as we go along. Please share this video if you're watching. Give me your thoughts. And I love the thoughts that you put on, should sex education be in school? And my personal thought on that is, yes, from the standpoint of physiology and science. And I think that is a great place to teach physiology. And a lot of that isn't taught at home. And some of that makes us a little uncomfortable. So if you can do it and kind of take the sting and the embarrassment and the shame out of it, oh my gosh, we could have such a more empowered, loving society. I truly believe. So sex education is not just about physiology, not just about intercourse, but it's about self-love, self-respect, boundaries, all the things that make us who we are and how empowered we are to live our lives without fear, guilt, and shame. Because I think fear, guilt, and shame are things that bleed in from all parts of our emotional anatomy that affect us. So those are just some things that I would ask you to maybe look at just a little bit. So you might think that talking about Santa Claus to the little kids is not a big deal, and everybody does it, and it's harmless, right? Well, I decided that when I had my son, and I was a little later mom in life, I was in my late 30s, almost 40 when I had him, I decided that I was going to enlist total honesty with our relationship. And I really try. He's almost 13 years old, and I have always tried to be really honest with him. And it's a natural developmental milestone. My husband is a child behavioral therapist. He's world-renowned. He travels all over the world speaking about foster kids and traumatized kids. And I've learned so much from him. And basically, my son is on the autistic spectrum. You wouldn't know it because he's so developmentally, emotionally mature through what my husband has brought to that. So I really want to honor my husband's work. And if you want more information, you can go to postinstitute.com. And there's tons of great information out there. But as we've kind of worked with my son, I've always tried to have complete honesty with him. So I never told him that there was a Santa Claus. We still did Christmas, and we still did presents, and we still did all of that. So he said, what?
Can I join?
Yeah, you can join. So, and he's here. He's actually on the video with me. So we've always, right? I never said Santa Claus, never anything like that.
No, he always said he wasn't real.
Honest, yeah, you gotta be honest. Tooth fairy, I mean, we still give him money when he loses his teeth and stuff, and we still get to do presents, but we have complete honesty.
Don't give your kids quarters. They'll hate you if you do that. Give them $5.
Money, big money. So a couple of things that I want you to, when you're talking to your kids, so I also didn't want to lie to my kid or to not tell him about, so we use anatomy terms, so we use the terms for the anatomy, and so we've always talked about that, and we kind of won't go into that here because you can do whatever you want with your children, but we've always talked about that. And as they kind of get into teenage years and they develop a little more testosterone, they have certain things that they start getting interested in, so we just talk about that, right? So I would say early and often talk to your kids as much as you can, early and often, because when you open up that dialogue, then they feel like they can come to you and talk to you about anything, right? Is that cool? So a couple things I just want to share with you. Honesty is the most important thing. And I think it's really important for you as a parent to get quiet, clear, and balanced before you have these conversations. Because if you're embarrassed, or you have shame, or you have guilt, or you have fear about talking about these things, you might want to get clear in your head how you feel. And it's an opportunity for self-reflection and really getting real about your self-love issues, any shame or guilt that you have about things. And I think it's totally cool to be transparent with your kids. If you do it early and often and you have good dialogue with them, you can tell them anything that goes on in your life. And I do think that you have to have discretion, because we didn't talk about when, we tried not to have movies on that were rated R and stuff when he was little, because it's age appropriate, right? So as they develop. But the last thing you want to do, and I hear from so many parents and my patients who say, that when kids are sexually active, that they have already started when they're sometimes 13 or 14 years old. So by the time you get around to getting real and clear and honest with yourself to have that conversation, they've probably already been talking to their friends, or they already know something. So number 2 is empower them, avoid don't. So, when my parents had what little conversation they did, they always said, don't get pregnant, don't get diseases. They scared me with venereal disease. And I would say focus on love. Wait to have children till you're ready, till you're financially prepared, till you have a job and you can take care of them, because a baby is a real responsibility. The diseases that you can get are real and they can make you really sick. So focus on health. And I really think that the focus on love, having a relationship when you're ready and when that feels good and when everybody's clear on what their relationship means, makes so much more sense. The next thing is set expectations. So one of the things that Brian, his stepdad, my husband, taught us when he came into the family was that you set the expectation, and it's parenting without fear and what he calls consequences. So no spanking, no shaming, no ugliness. It's just when they are going in a direction that you might not agree with, you just set the expectation that says, honey, I prefer, because there are diseases and because there's risk of getting pregnant or getting a girl pregnant, that you wait until you are ready to take on a family, till you're ready to take on this responsibility. So it's not giving permission to have sex. It's just saying, please, let's have this dialogue, let's have this conversation, and make sure that you're ready for that level of responsibility, because it is a lot of responsibility. The next thing is self-love, self-respect, healthy boundaries. I saw this terrifying video. It was a college video, and these guys were chanting, these fraternity guys were chanting something like, no means yes or no means maybe, and it was terrible. And it was like, if a girl says no, she doesn't want you to touch her, she doesn't want you to kiss her, it means don't. It means no. So I think that we can teach our boys to respect our women, and we've always taught Donnie in our home to have self-respect and respect women, open doors, and be kind, and just have those boundaries, and that those are good and healthy. And when you have those, it also sets you up for safety and helps you avoid abuse. So I always told Donnie, even when he was young, we knew the anatomy, we knew good touch, bad touch, and he knew that if he was around a stranger, that if there was an issue, that he would tell me, and we would have that dialogue. And so that sets up for safety, and it limits abuse. But it's that when you don't talk about it, and when you just let them go off with people, and you just assume that everything's okay. So it's really better to be empowered and educated. Be scientific. So we use scientific terms, and we talk about the physiology. We talk about how babies are made, and vaginas, and uteruses, and all that kind of stuff. So it's okay, but do that age appropriately. A 5-year-old's not really ready to hear all that, but a 12 or 13-year-old is. And being that for a while I was a single mom with Johnny, I wasn't always real comfortable with that. Sometimes I would say, ask your dad or ask your stepdad. And that's okay. It's okay to find an adult who you trust, who you might feel more comfortable to have those conversations with. And I think it's totally okay for the school. You probably have had some education in school, a little. Do they do that in Arkansas?
They didn't really teach us anything about it.
You got maybe a video? Did you get something? Or did you not go that day? I don't remember. Anyway, they sent a note home from school, and I don't know what happened with that. Teach social media skills. So one of the things that happens that starts coming up around sex is boys start saying that girls were doing something that they didn't do, and they're posting things, and that can all be so hurtful. So again, it comes back to honesty. Teach your boys to be honest and to be respectful of girls, so that they're not saying things that girls did, because it can really be hurtful. I know when I was a kid that I was very sheltered in my home, so this wasn't me, but I know there were some girls who got talked about terrible for maybe even just kissing a boy. So that can be really painful. So teach them to be respectful on social media. I think that's really important.
Well, I think that was in the old days when they did that. They don't do that today, I don't think.
Well, and they have so much now about bullying, anti-bullying, and things like that. I think the schools are so much more aware.
But kids actually kind of still do it. They'll either punch each other, or it's usually just for fun, but sometimes it can lead to bullying.
Yeah, it's hard to eliminate all that, but
yeah,
we try. And the last thing is listen. Be available. Listen more than, I love his saying, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more than you talk. So let your children tell you what their concerns are. Let them tell you when they're scared. Or Donnie started out this school year, and he said he had a girlfriend, and I thought that was sweet and that was cool, and he felt comfortable telling me that. And so, I love that. I love being in on the conversation. And I know there's things that he probably wants to talk about with his friends that he doesn't feel comfortable talking about with me. But as long as we have that dialogue and we have that expectation that if you need anything, be safe. There's safe sex practices. There's ways that when you're ready that you can do things and then still have a choice about things. So it's just about listening and being available. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I love that we can have honest, open conversations, because this is a part of life. It's a big part of life. And if you're ignoring it, then the conversation is just going to well up. And it's not just about sex. It's about every aspect in your child's life. So if you make a point to be involved with them and to listen to them and spend time with them.
Well, there is one thing, kids these days don't feel really comfortable talking about parents or siblings about, I like this girl, I want to get her number and everything. I mean, kids you want to talk to them about that. They don't usually come talk to you, because that makes them feel awkward.
Yeah. Well, and I think peers more often talk to each other about those kinds of things than child to parent. And that's okay. That's perfectly normal. But I always want Donnie to feel comfortable that if there's a problem, or if he got into trouble, or if there was an issue, that safety always comes first. Honesty first, and then safety. So honesty, and then let me know, and then we work everything out. it's a dialogue, it's a conversation, and it's all based in love and not fear. So my husband would say choose love, not fear. So again, go to postinstitute.com if you want more information on parenting and how to talk to kids and how to parent with expectation instead of consequences. So I love that. No shaming, no guilt, and it cultivates honesty in the relationship. I'm not ever afraid that Donnie will ever be out robbing liquor stores or maybe on his video games, but I'm not afraid that he's not gonna be a really super awesome kid or a super awesome adult, because we have cultivated that relationship. And it's never too late. Even if your kid is 17 or 18 and you're just getting started, it is never too late to cultivate that relationship. But the first thing you have to do is get quiet, get clear, and get balanced about yourself, and then you can be really clear and project that out, and that'll come back to you.
Because no one likes a pervert.
I love it. Hope this was helpful and informative. Please share, and we got so much more coming on. I'll continue to do these Facebook Live videos, and I love you all very much, and I hope you have a blessed day, blessed week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.